Okay, it is August the 8th. So I'm trying to do this by day because I've had many people on this channel encourage me to do so, and maybe that helps with the timeline of events. I'm here in Alexandria, Virginia. You can see here, right up in front of us is the Albert Bryan United States Courthouse in the Eastern District of Virginia, and this is obviously the Paul Manafort trial. I've had some questions of people asking me why I'm interested in the Manafort trial. You know, a lot of people know I've been part of a large investigation regarding drugs and weapons, and have helped another YouTube channel do tons of research in that area, and that's been going on for a year and a half longer. First anonymously, because I am in danger if I don't do it anonymously. And so that was my attempt, and for reasons that I still had not been cleared up to this day, I also shared some information with Congress anonymously as a whistleblower. And it was a short time after that I was jumped and assaulted at my home by 4 individuals in what has been told to me was an attempted hit job. And so I managed to survive, but it didn't have a lot of options. And because I had been a whistleblower before in law enforcement, didn't have a lot of options of some of those guys helping me out. I didn't know who to trust. So I received some phone calls after that. I'm not going to go into all the details of that case yet, but I received some phone calls after that by some trusted sources who told me, after a couple of months of kind of laying down in extreme fear as my PTSD trapped my body in a freeze position, who told me, get out now, because they're going to finish the job. So, and the warning that I got during the assault was that, number one, these guys were lying in wait for me. They knew my name, and the warning that I got from them was that I better keep my effing mouth shut and better stop talking to anybody. So, you know, heard loud and clear to me, but you know, I had a determination to make at that time. This has been going on for years with other things, and I just couldn't stand by anymore. I was just so sick of being silenced, and I knew that my own PTSD was a result, not only the trauma and the things that I had witnessed, that's part of it, but the majority of it was from being hunted, from being a whistleblower, from retaliation, from threats, from lies and smears, and all the different things you've heard that they do to those of us who stand against corruption, especially within the justice system. Those of us that are the most trusted, oftentimes, the ones that win all the awards. You get to a certain point and you either turn a blind eye or, you know, all hell breaks loose. And that's happened to many, many people, thousands of people. And so I had a choice last summer, or not really a choice, I was told, like, get out now. And because I had been helping this one YouTube channel, a whistleblower, and many people know who that is, my only thought process was, well, where am I going to go hide? You know, I've been trying to hide for years, and they find me wherever. And if I do go hide, and manage to hide and just shut my mouth, what am I doing to myself? Well, I'm torturing myself even more, because the secrets stuck within are the trauma. And also, I felt like I couldn't allow the information knowledge that I have to be kept secret any longer, because I couldn't stand the thought of knowing that other people, both whistleblowers being targeted in whatever way, soldiers, law enforcement, and also children, and child sex trafficking, and organ harvesting, and drug running, and weapons running, and all that stuff. So I have a very eclectic experience with all those different parts, including law enforcement part, but also a psychology part, where I do have a you know, graduate degree, and did a lot of work with PTSD victims, mostly soldiers actually, who I would speak to, and some of their biggest trauma was not over the horror that they saw, although that is part of it, but a lot of it was over being silenced about what their experience was. And I know I got a comment the other day that I need a stabilizer. for my phone, and I'll work on that. But sometimes I have the shakes a little bit. That's just part of it. So I hope you guys can be compassionate towards that until I get a stabilizer, but it's just part of what happens in the body. And so last year, after being jumped, my thought process was, well, if you're gonna do it, give it your all. Go to the heart of the beast. And the heart of the beast to me was Washington, D.C. And do whatever you can to expose these people for what they do. Now, I was involved in 2 separate kind of online investigations, one involving strictly the child sex trafficking portion, and one involving, a lot of people know I'm involved with this task force, the drugs for weapons, Uranium One, Clinton Foundation, all of it. Let's be honest, all those things are connected. So with the rat lines involving the drugs for weapons, also comes the children. And, the children are also used, obviously, as blackmail to get people who might not sign off on deals for certain drugs and weapons or keep their mouth shut about it. They're compromised and set up in various ways. And other people are just involved in it. And it involves all the horror things that a lot of people have hinted about or talk about that no one wants to talk about. Luciferian practices, sacrifice, horror that, it's hard to speak about. But if somebody doesn't speak about it, nobody will. And to expect these kids, who some of them aren't kids anymore, they're young adults, but as their memories come... Man, I am shaking a lot today. I apologize. As their memories come together and they're having to relive some of this own pain, to expect them to manage this system and report on their own or get help. As you can see in some other videos, I've gone around to ICE and all kinds of federal agencies to attempt to get help. I've gotten no phone calls, no return anything. I've given up my own name and information at great risk to my safety, stating the information that I have, and nobody wants to talk about it. Now, I'm not putting ICE down in general. I met an HSI worker, investigator inside, and I believe there's some very good people working on this inside, but to get to them is really, really hard. And I also have other documentation and information regarding certain people's identities that might not be who they have purported to be. I should say they are not who and they are also not who a lot of people have tried to guess that they are. And there are various reasons why I have that information, but I do, and I have the documentation, and I've tried in many ways to get it to people that would be the most helpful. And I failed because no one really wants to know or to handle it or that kind of stuff. And so I have found somebody, though, and I'm not going to say which organization it's with, but they do have possession, or they're gaining possession of the documents. They're being sent, even now as we speak, to start a case against this and to expose some of this stuff and some of these people. Now, I could stand here on camera and give you, I could just read out a list of names and locations of people involved in these rat lines, people involved in the child trafficking, on and on and on. Obviously, that would cause a tremendous amount of safety concerns for me that I already have. And I also have to be very, very careful, because my biggest concern, more so than my own safety, is the safety of the kids of the victims that are involved, survivors that are involved. So why I'm here at the Paul Manafort trial is because I understand that if we don't clean out the justice system, if we don't restore law and order, rule of law, within the justice system, within the FBI, within even state and local police forces, upper echelon, and I try to repeat over and over again that your everyday agents, everyday police officers, most of them, 97% of them, are working so hard and would do anything to help their country and would never turn a blind eye to some of this stuff. But they get trapped and threatened to keep their mouth shut, and their families are threatened. Or if they do speak, as I did, they just hunt you. Literally hunt you. Take everything you own away and try to entrap you and lie about you and smear you. So, you know, it's a very tough thing to live out, and a lot of people will say, well, why aren't these guys coming out of the, you know, the blue and speaking the truth? Why are these FBI agents not coming out and speaking? Well, from what I hear, there's about 20 or maybe more that have asked Devin Nunes to subpoena them so that they would be mandated to speak the truth to Congress. And I hope that happens, because, you know, there's not really any protection, and they're not playing around. They don't play around with people who have insider information. They just want you to go away, and not in the prettiest of ways, let me tell you. So I decided to come out here after I was jumped last summer, because my thought process was, well, at least I'll be in a place where I might have more access to higher levels of power that, I don't know, maybe aren't corrupt. I didn't even know what to do. And then also I thought, well, maybe it'll be harder to kill, you know, several of us than just to kill one of us, because they like to isolate us and keep us completely separate. They don't like whistleblowers connecting. They don't like whistleblowers and victim survivors connecting. They try to isolate you. And in order to tackle this problem, we have to fight against that isolation. And that's the reason I came out here. As I said, I was helping out with this you know, other investigation that's all kind of intertwined. But the first investigation with the weapons and drugs and things like that, you know, there still hasn't been a real connection that there's all the same parties involved are all involved in child trafficking as well in some way. And so why I'm here at the Paul Manafort case is because this is very true of this case and what's going on. And I've said this before on this channel, the Ukraine is a hotbed of child trafficking. I've talked about how the Clinton Foundation and I think it's Penchako, one of the puppets they installed there, his foundation, have created these NICU units, neonatal intensive care units, and organ harvesting, and you know, and obviously the weapons and drugs are going through there as well. This really got bad after the coup started in, I believe, 2011, and that was started by Hillary Rodham Clinton at the State Department and George Soros, who backed it. And some of our own, how do I say it, agents who don't wear uniforms, you know, it was us doing that, and that country has been ripped apart. And then when the country is ripped apart and there's no stability by a sovereign government, then the people that like to take advantage of others, like to abuse their power, they go right in. They take the oil rights, they take the mineral rights, the gas, the everything. And so, you know, you can look on the board, some of the boards of directors after the coup in Ukraine, and you would see names like, I don't know, Biden, just sons of senators themselves, that all of a sudden gained rights on these Ukrainian energy boards. I mean, come on, people. It's exactly why they did it. So this case is important to me because it concerns all those things: Ukraine, the child trafficking, the coup, how our country operates in these conditions a lot of times, the reality of what happens after these countries are torn apart. And from my limited knowledge, I believe Mr. Manafort might have some information regarding this child trafficking. Not that he's involved at all, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that there are people that stood against it, are people that maybe have done things that, you know, aren't so great, but they drew the line at the child trafficking stuff. And so that's one of the reasons I'm here at the Manafort trial. I'm hoping that, you know, the rule of law will be established here, and that any bogus or BS investigations will be stopped, whatever that means. I mean, the judge here, Judge Elliott, or Ellis, I believe, he's been great so far. Their star witness was ripped apart. So I'm interested in seeing how this plays out. There's a direct connection between this case and some of the judges and other people that I have information on that have been blackmailed. and that leads to the identity of certain people in our government who, or maybe were in our government, some of them are, would really not like to be known for who they really are. And I show some documents that I don't know, several weeks ago that I had, and talked about when I would release them. Well, those documents have been sent to some people, and you know, a lot of the other information has been sent to some people in the case that I am, for some reason, not able to deliver. They've been copied and delivered. So I am here at the Manafort trial, and I'm going to give you, I know there's other channels doing information on the Paul Manafort trial, and they're doing it from a very weapons and drugs and fraud and all that kind of stuff perspective. And I'm trying to do it from another perspective, to help close the gap so that people understand that the infiltration of these countries, the coups, the screaming and ranting about we want democracy for all these other countries in the world, most of the time that's not the reason that this stuff has happened. We want their oil. We want their energy. So, you know, we or other countries get involved in destroying their country so that then we can put in the puppet, our puppet, and control the country, get all the rights, and all the politicians or whoever can get all the money and take it away from the people. So that's why I'm here. My channel was down since last Friday, and you know, I don't know why. It's still very hard to upload stuff, although I found another way. But I spent hours and hours and hours this weekend with different tech organizations trying to restore it, and so I found kind of a backdoor way to load the information. And what I want to say is, you know, I hope that if there are people out there that are interested in these topics, child trafficking, the weapons, the drugs, the coups, the way our country works, kind of in the dark corners, in the underbelly, I would say, you know, give them this channel, this link. The reason I'm doing it is to expose this stuff. Now, I've thought about it. I have to be very careful about the title I give to each of these videos. I mean, if you put a title up there that would draw a lot of people to it that want to know, it also draws other people that would want to shut your channel down, if you guys know what I'm saying. So I have to be careful how I title them. But I'm going to tell you that inside these videos, it is going to be all about that. That is my real mission, to expose this part of the story and to give voice to those who have lost their voice, or their voices have been silenced. And I was one of those people for many, many years, and I'm not going to let it happen again. No matter what, no matter how hard you try, I'm just not going to let it happen again. I'm going to keep going. So as far as my channel, there was somebody that decided to join or jump on my channel last week or this weekend and put some very, very nasty comments and accusations on it. They've since been removed, but I would just say that I know that this person was told to knock it off, and knows that these things are all lies. And I don't want to have to go further than that. I don't want to have to, you know, be the one that posts pictures of text messages and these kind of things, because I'm not into it. I said the other day, I don't want to fight with other YouTube. I don't care about other, I care only about other YouTube channels in terms of their information they can put out. I hope everyone's successful. I hope everyone in their limited knowledge and skill, whatever it may be, as well as me, and whatever I can bring to the table, can just help expose this stuff. So I have no beef with anybody, and I do work with some people or around some people, and I have shared information, but I'm very cautious about that as well. It is a very solo journey, one that I would never have chosen for my own life, but I'm in it, and these kids wouldn't have chosen it either. So if not us, then who? So with that, I'm going to go into the Manafort trial and see what happens. I'll give you guys an update later on. And I'm going to be doing, I think at least once a day, I'm going to do a video on post-traumatic stress disorder, including complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Not only have I had that and been diagnosed with it, hadn't had it severely, I also have a degree and been trained in how to treat it and have very strong oppositional views based on what I learned of who controls these things about how to treat this. And so I want to help people that have PTSD in the best way that I know how. I'm working mine out daily, and when you see the camera shaking, that is a result of nervous system damage, and you can't control it even if you want to. So with that, I'm going to go inside and watch the Manafort trial, and then I will give you guys some more updated information, and then I'm going to go, a kind of a completely different direction and focus everything on the all my energy on exposing these very, very sick, evil people. So I hope you guys watch the channel or pass it around send the links to your friends or people that you know that are suffering, survivors, victims, people that have PTSD, people that are the caretakers of others with PTSD, soldiers. I've done a lot of work with soldiers and been in treatment with soldiers for PTSD because there's a lot of similarities with what I experienced in law enforcement and some of what they experienced in combat. So yeah, with that being said, I'll end this and hopefully I'll figure out how to upload it, and it will upload, and then I will give an update later on. So thanks for listening.